On Second Shot, we tackle 2 new headlines every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And we want you to be a part of that. When you see a headline you want to take a second shot at, or if you're looking for advice, or just want to tell us what you think of the show, email us at secondshotcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, rate us on iTunes. This helps us move up in the ratings so more people will see us. And if you want to hear more, subscribe to the show so that the new episodes will get straight to you every single Friday. We love you. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.
There's a lot of news in the world today.
News that might surprise you, startle you, upset, or maybe impress.
News that's not always for the faint of heart.
That's why the man who failed his way to success, Heath Oakes, is stepping up.
Tackling today's headlines with ignorance on fire in a way only a millennial mogul can.
Take off your sport coat, grab a beer, and enjoy the conversation.
This is Second Shot with your host, Heath Oakes.
I don't care who you are, this new studio, it's so funny because it makes you feel like you're famous because you're sitting here in this all fancy thing and it's all this glass and these people walking by looking in like they think we're somebody important.
Exactly. Look at me.
So
look at me.
They think
lights
we're so
changing, colors, mood settings.
They got it all fancy. The big. I mean, it's like and we're not famous at all or nobody important. And
We
they
have
no
fun
idea.
here. Yeah, it's true.
Hey, it helps with my ego for an hour.
Oh, you'll be able to live on that for a while.
I don't care what you think about me. It's what I think about me that counts.
That's right.
This is Scott back again, buddy. Good to see you on another episode.
Good to be here.
And Zach, as always, on the mic, still not hanging out with the peasants out here.
Look, come on now. I respect you guys more than you know. That's why you get the cool studio. I'm sitting here in a cave. And anybody who's watching this on video knows. They can see. They know the truth.
No, you made sure you still had the camera on you. I love you, Zach.
Thank you, Heath. I love you too.
Yeah, that was sweet.
All right. Which first headline?
This first one. This first. I have a feeling this first one's going to get Scott a little fired up. I think he got a little fired up as we were even talking about it.
Yeah, let's get cracking on this. First headline is children struggle to hold pencils due to excessive use of iPads. Experts are saying overusing touch devices like iPads, iPhones, damage children's dexterity, preventing the kids' finger muscles from developing in a way that would allow them to hold pencils correctly once they start school. Children are not coming to school with the hand strength and dexterity they had 10 years ago, according to experts. What do you guys think about this?
First of all, Zach, though, what the heck does dexterity?
It's a shoe, isn't it?
Yeah. I think I saw that on a rack once.
Yeah. Zach's always the smart one, not like me. When you heard this headline, I think you'd be just about like, because you got the kids in the ripe age of everything, and obviously growing up, even my age, like this wasn't a problem because it really wasn't. I mean, Jenny was just talking about the other day that there was a deal going around of making a push to make sure kids didn't get cell phones till 8th grade, and I was like, really, we got to push it for that? Like, wait till 8th grade? Like, it's crazy. This is crazy.
Oh, that'd be so far behind these days.
Really?
8th grade. Oh, that may be grandparents once they hit 8th grade if they don't have an iPhone.
I have a feeling you've gone through a little bit of this whole issue with very similar to a pencils and iPad.
I've got a son that's got an iPad, an iPod, an iPhone.
So is that a bad thing or good thing?
It depends on how tired I am.
Yeah. So what you're saying is it's a very selfish tool.
It can be. No, there's some good things, but there's also there's some challenges.
Yeah.
And we deal with those. We talk about it on a regular basis that they can be on those things so much that they lose touch with the reality of the world.
Yeah.
And what's going on around them as they're tuned into their little spectrum.
Yeah.
But I know we have to limit the time.
Yeah.
And we try not to use it as a punishment, but we utilize it as a punishment.
But why wouldn't you want to use it as if they like doing something? The whole point of punishment is losing something that you like. So why not?
Because I'd like to be taking something else away from him in life than just that.
Because it is time sometimes where you actually can get some peace and quiet as a parent.
No, there's things they can do constructively. I mean, they do homework on them. They do. Self-taught learnings, IXL maths, and there's a lot of neat programs schools are tapping into. It makes it easier for us as parents as well because we can kind of learn some of the lessons as they're being taught. But when it can be excessive, I mean, I know we've got friends that they're doing the Minecrafts and all these Robloxes and whatnot, and the scary part is what you don't know that they're doing.
Yeah,
because it's easy to hide.
Yeah.
And but they can get out there, and
especially when their dad's you, and you don't even have nothing but a LinkedIn, so you don't know anything.
Exactly, I don't know.
I had to walk you through how to download podcasts.
I had to fall back on my wife. She said Snapchat the other day, and I thought she was making green beans or something.
Snap peas.
Snap peas. It's crazy.
But this is this this. I think this is a conversation at every turn of every era. How do you mirror? How do you figure out that middle road of old school and new school? Because look, here's the thing: is technology stuff can advance kids to knowing more than what we knew. When we were young.
Yeah, they have to. They have to have technology to be successful. Just in elementary school and middle school.
Yeah,
they've got to be able to navigate a computer.
And one of the other bigger things too is now it's even like cursive is really kind of gone, because handwriting itself is really not as a bigger thing, because everything's done through email and technology and all that. And I don't know if I could really, I learned cursive when I was a kid,
right,
but I haven't used it so long. I don't know really. I wonder if I'd make up letters as I try to write.
When you think of your school days, when you say you need to write a paper, a 2-page paper, what's the first thing that came to your mind?
Pencil and a little notepad.
And a cramping on the head, and you're counting the words so that you make sure you got it long enough.
Yes.
Now they're typing these things up, and they don't.
But it's not always a bad thing. Technology moves things forward faster. So but
it's got to be in balance.
Because I do have a bias of an old school. As you know, Scott, you know me very well that I'm a very old soul. I may be younger, but I'm an extremely old soul. I almost side always more with the old way of doing things versus new way.
Right.
But I don't want that to halt me or my child's learning of the new way. But
also, I think with our kiddos, I want to make sure that they have a little old school in them as well.
Yeah, I think so too.
They need to get out and play.
Yep.
They need to have a swing set. They need to go out and play catch. Where it becomes a challenge is, and what I love, I have a common bond with my son of baseball. And he's a great little baseball player.
Yeah.
And so he wants to be doing all the stuff on the deal, but we set it aside so we can have time together to be outdoors, physically doing things together and building that bond. And our daughter likes to ride horses, and she's doing all her stuff.
That was her third birthday party.
That was her third birthday. Yeah. She's
horses.
Still riding horses today. And
so what do you? Is there anything that you do to make sure y'all are watching that? Is there something to give us tips on? Like, how do we do you have to keep a schedule to see if you're making? Because I would say that I think that.
We have a certain amount of screen time they can have in a day.
Yeah.
And certain things that have to happen before they can have screen time. So
gotcha. That's called screen time. That's good. That's a good little.
So in the morning we've got to have.
Hey, Zach, you'd be screwed because you probably spend 90% of your day on screen time. Don't
well, the challenge part,
because that's what you do for a living.
I love technology.
Yeah, but that's also what you do for a living. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but our doctor also is showing, and the mood can be affected by the amount of screen time you're having.
Especially as a young kid when you're developing so much.
Yeah, and they've got it so close to their face and all the gamma rays or whatever it is that my wife knows more about it than I do. But, it's not just the thumbs. They're going to lose. My son can get irritated very easily after he's been on one of those devices for a long time.
Right.
And that's where we've got it. We limit.
And I think that line is when kids come in and can't hold a pencil.
Well, absolutely.
I think that's a line. That's the line that's being crossed.
Or they can't run a 100-yard dash or do a pull-up.
Yeah. There's not enough old school when you can't hold a pencil.
Right.
Because no matter what we do, pencil and piece of paper is always going to be around. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, you're not going to use it every day.
Sure.
But if you can't hold a pencil, you got a problem. Or, like you said, because when I was a kid, I lived outside. I lived there. I was nowhere else but there. And I've told Jenny, I want to buy, some acreage a little bit outside of the Metroplex and have a little cabin off the grid type thing to where I can take my daughter out there on weekends and just teach her how to build a fire and and those things, just because it's I don't know, there's something about it that is. But I also I'm not going to limit her advancement.
Right, man. It's all about moderation, right?
Yeah.
In all aspects.
That's true. If
they're outside all the time, not doing their homework, they're out on the creek fishing. They're not going to advance. And socially, they need to be adept in those things because the social circles are going to require that for you to be involved socially.
Yeah.
With our daughter, and we're going through do we want Instagrams? Do we want the Snapchats and the things that can be done on that? But they've got to have a knowledge.
Topic,
yeah,
isn't it?
Give me a third shot on that thing.
You can't help but wonder how our dads felt about like keyboards.
Oh yeah, same
when
way.
kids
Absolutely.
learn how to type, and it's like, what are you doing that for? A second ago, and like we don't. That's the thing. Like we can connect the dots backwards, but we can't connect them forward. We don't know whether or not we're all going to be using touchscreens and pencils will be obsolete.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure they've been around for like how long? All of
Absolutely.
humanity. Yeah, it's probably going to keep being.
But the next generation, it's all about us being parents and being involved in the kids' lives and not allowing a situation to get to the point you can't literally pick up a pencil.
Pay attention enough to know when it is. I'll tell you this. Here's what's interesting. I was telling somebody, the millennials and baby boomers are the people that are at odds the most, right? It's millennials versus baby boomers, really. Because millennials hate the baby boomers hate the millennials, right?
Yeah.
But here's what's interesting. Them two have the most in common of any generation, ever. They're exactly the same dang people. It's just a different era. And that's what's interesting because they are. The baby boomers were what moved America forward with ingenuity, technology advances, and in their way. And they were the biggest workforce there was. They were the most entrepreneurship generation we've ever had.
Right, absolutely.
What is a millennial? The largest workforce, the biggest entrepreneurship, the most pushing back against. I mean, I go baby boomers. Y'all were the lead of everything in the 70s, correct?
Right.
That was the most hippiest time in the world. Y'all talk about these millennials these days being the hippie. What were y'all? Y'all were the same. Like y'all were literally millennials and baby boomers are the same person. That's why they don't get along. They're both A-type. They're strong-willed, and they do things. And look, the baby boomers moved our generation, moved our world further. That's they were. I
appreciate you talking
force.
so good about me. That's old folks.
You're not quite. You're not. No. You're the generation in between nobody talks about.
Exactly.
But the millennials are next with that, and they're moving things forward. And yeah, we can go through our little 70s time as well. I mean, it all does. But at the end of the day, they're so much alike. They don't get. They butt heads. And if they would realize that they've got so much common ground, they could really do things great. And I think that we've got to make sure as parents is to walk that line and watch it and know that kids need to know how to hold a pencil. They need to know how to hold a pencil. They really do. And the little bit old school, new school is a great thing. But I like this one. It's shocking to me that a kid can't hold a pencil. That's a little extreme, I believe. But
as Bryden gets older, there's going to be a lot of things that shock you, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. I better get ready, right? All right, we're going to be back in the second segment of Second Shot here in just a minute.
He's a suit and tie kind of guy with deep Southern roots. Heath Oaks hosts more of Second Shot coming up on RNCN.
You guys have been listening to Second Shot and hearing us talk about it. You need to go pick up my book, Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. You can get it on Amazon in a paper book. You can also hear this beautiful voice of mine in audiobook style on Audible or anywhere you're going to get your audiobooks. Guys, this book took a lot of time to put into it, and I believe it can really be some life-changing stuff to help you on your path to success. And hopefully you're going to fail your way to success just like I did. Ignorance on Fire, A Journey of Failing Your Way to Success. Amazon.com, Audible.com, audiobooks, paper books, everything. Get it, share it with your people, and I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Go pick it up today.
Ready? Aim. Fire. Second Shot is back for another round on RNCN.
It would make my life complete if Monster would say they would sponsor us. Because I love my monsters.
It wouldn't be good for your blood pressure.
It's not, no. Now, Scott was the one that walked in the office that day on me whenever my almost had a heart attack.
About 3 shades of red.
Yeah, that was when I had to get on blood pressure. That day.
When did you have a heart attack?
It was
16.
I was 20, 21. I was 21, 22.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah. I fell out my office there. I was 5 points from a heart attack.
Really?
Yep.
Oh wow, I never heard about that.
Yep. Scott was the one that came in, and I've been on blood pressure medicine ever since, and had to watch it with my heart in a bad way. I mean, it's a very heavily family gene.
Right. Yeah. No, you had said that.
Yeah. But from then on,
you've done good since then, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, we were broke. We were barely surviving. We were.
What was there to be worried about?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we were trying to figure out how to pay the bill the next week, and every day was trying to figure out the next day. I was sleeping on couches, and yeah, it was not. It was a very stress-free time.
How do we coordinate this account? Yeah, you need enrollers.
Yeah, we didn't know what we were doing.
I can't say I'm surprised. Heath Oaks, the Oaks family is kind of. You guys play big, man. You play hard. Yeah, you bring your A game every day. That's how it goes.
Well,
all right?
we had no other choices.
Yeah.
It was either that or nothing.
It was that or nothing at all. That's
Yeah.
right.
Let's go big or we won't have a home.
Yeah, literally. I didn't. I was sleeping on couches.
Yep.
But I'll tell you this second headline is it's one of those feel good redemption type stories, I think, as well. Kind of like our redemption story from it all again. What we got, Zach?
Yes. Amazon is buying Ring, a business that was once rejected on Shark Tank. For anybody who doesn't know, Ring is a smart home doorbell service. It's a doorbell with a camera on it. Anytime somebody rings your doorbell, you get a notification on your phone that you can see exactly what's going on. You can see the front of your door, who's standing there, what they're doing, and you can exchange with this person back and forth. Amazon agreed to buy this company that makes smart doorbells, and this is intriguing because Ring was rejected on Shark Tank. For Ring CEO and founder Jamie Siminoff, achieving such success wasn't easy. There was a time he couldn't get an investment on ABC's Shark Tank and figured his company was going broke for sure. Now he's getting bought by Amazon.
How much do they buy him for? Does it say?
Ooh, that's a good question. Let me see if I can figure that out. You guys talk amongst
like
yourselves.
Ring?
I'll punch back in on it.
Do you know what Ring is?
Yeah, no. I think it's a great concept.
I've got Ring. Do you
have it?
No,
No,
absolutely. Well, my wife.
We're still looking for electricity in Kansas.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well,
I saw a banner flying overhead.
I'm almost convinced that we've got something on repeat that just makes Amazon drop off 5 packages a day at 5 different times there at our house. My wife swears it's a repeat. It's not her really doing it, but Amazon. The Amazon drivers know us. We know who they are because there's so many of them all the time. And obviously in Dallas and stuff with Ring is, it's a good thing because it helps deter people from stealing packages off your porch.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good concept and good for them for not giving up.
Oh yeah.
After they were told no.
It looks like they were rumored to be purchased just over $1 billion with a B. $1 billion.
That's rough.
It's a hard knock life.
Over $1 billion for a doorbell.
My opinion changes just a little bit with those additional don't 3 zeros at the end. But that's good for them. They deserve it.
They did something that I guarantee you that because if you think about it before it all being a thing now, it's one of those that goes. You probably go. It was kind of like Uber, Mark Cuban and them turned down Uber because he said that'll never happen. And you know what? Before it happened, I can see there are so many roadblocks in the way for that thing to happen. The chances of it happening were not good. Ring is a similar thing. Like, who's going to spend the money to put a video camera on their doorbell? Like, who wants to reinvent a doorbell? It's been around forever.
Yeah, well, and then after being told no, didn't they take another step and kind of advance the technology?
It's been no
as well.
It's been they were told no and they were stupid over and over, and it was hard for them to get money.
Yeah, but they didn't give up.
Nope.
They didn't give up, and that's the thing. A lot of respect for those guys.
Yeah,
because how many Shark Tank was probably 40th or 50th opportunity or place they had gone to raise money, and they kept going and going. They believed in themselves, they believed in the product, and they kept going until they made a success. Yay for them.
And
you want to cut me in?
Yeah, give me a little percentage of it. It'd be okay. My thing, it's like. Who cares what everybody else says? If you got your idea that you think is crazy and you're told it's crazy, run with it.
Absolutely.
To heck with them.
Absolutely.
Go do it. Like be weird.
I mean, how many times have people looked at us and said, "Hey, what y'all are doing is crazy"? Hey, remember, we'd only been together about a couple months.
Thing. Yeah.
And you're going to a meeting that I wasn't invited to because
the best thing that ever happened was that Scott was not at this meeting, Zach.
What meeting?
Hands down, there was a meeting. We were 5 months in the business, and Scott wasn't there, and I was there, and Scott and I had already written our business plan and that we were going to do $1 million in that first year. Okay.
Yeah.
Now we didn't know that was a very.
To us, it was just a process.
Yeah,
just a process.
Maybe 1% of the people have ever done that in 1 year. We did not know this, but we drew it out. We laid out our plan. We knew we were going to do $1 million.
Yep.
So
we needed to recruit this many people by this date. We needed to get them trained, developed, and lead to this. And
we had it all lined out perfectly. I go to this meeting. Scott wasn't there, and this guy standing up there. He's their guest speaker, talking about how great he's done, and he's been there a couple of years doing $600,000. And I remember going, "Oh my God, we got this thing wrong." Like, we don't know. We don't know.
You came into the office, you looked pale.
I did.
Because it was just right there. The meeting was here in Dallas.
Yep. And I come back and I said, Scott, we got this thing wrong. We're not doing something right. This isn't real expectations because they got this expert up there talking. Been doing it years and not doing the $1 million.
So you think you're setting yourself up for failure?
Yeah, I'm like, we can't do it. We got to rethink about it. This isn't because we didn't know much about this world.
Sure.
We come from another. Scott looked at me point blank face and said, Heath, we're doing $1 million. We've already laid it out. The numbers are the numbers, and we went back through them and go, I guess you're right.
Were we willing to do the numbers?
Yeah,
were we really willing to do the steps it took to get there?
We didn't know what we didn't know,
right?
And if it wasn't for that meeting, if it wasn't for Scott not being there, because being in that environment could have talked you out of it too, because it was the way the environment was, and then this expert and all these things. So all of these things that look like we can't do that, and to go back in the reality of Scott doing it, and in that first year,
that could have defined what we considered success.
Yeah, they were defining what we considered successful, exactly. And come back in that first year, we did 1.3 million, and so the same thing with Ring and them. Somebody could define to them that can't work or can work, but they kept going and forging through themselves. And with our opportunity, and with you and I at that point too, it wasn't just as much about us believing as we had no other choice.
Right, absolutely. Well, we had a responsibility as well.
Yes.
From the standpoint of if we were going to bring somebody a part of our agency, we had to teach them these things, and this is going to be the results.
Yep.
Otherwise, we're selling a dream.
Yep.
And we're all about educating on the reality. If you'll go to work, if you'll do these steps, the way we teach you on a consistent basis, this is going to be a result. So there was nothing. Either we were stupid ourselves or ignorant upon. We were either.
Well, we were ignorant.
Our system was either dead wrong, or we were going to hit $1 million.
We were ignorant, but here's what we had, Zach. We had each other that pushed each other to say what it was. And that's what you got to do right now. If you take a look at your life, who are you surrounded? Are you surrounded by the ones that are pushing you to do something more, to go bigger, think bigger? And it's like we were talking the other day, and I wanted to slap you in the face through the phone. Or you talking about, well, I don't know, I can. That's a really big thing you're talking. Yeah, I'm going big, baby.
Yeah.
I was talking about crazy numbers of stuff, dude, and you're going, well, I can't. No, bull. We're going.
And
that
you talk
high.
about it's an environment. We've talked over the last 6 years.
It's all about environment.
As our environments have gone different directions.
Yep.
And the power of an environment and the power of people around you, what they're saying, because odds are you're going to be able to do what people say you can do.
Yeah.
And so, are you around people that say I can do $1 million, or am I around people saying, please do 300,000?
And you're talking about the environment and those things. It's like with Jeff today. I took Scott by to see one of the guys that Scott hired a long time ago in the business is with us, and he has an agency in Fort Worth, and he's killing it, doing a great job. I went by there, and he was on fire to see Scott, and it was good timing. And we get out there, and Scott's like, man, he was just on fire. He got things rolling, office full of people, and it's just amazing it's Jeff is talented and all, he knew that, but he just everything's doing well, and it's just that environment. You walked in that office and felt his environment.
It was incredible, palpable as you walked in.
Yeah,
it's called the buzz. The buzz. He's got the buzz. And it took a lot of work to get there.
Yep.
And it took a lot of belief to get there.
Yep.
And he went through some hard times as well.
Yep.
Along the way.
But it is that you've got to change your environment if you ever want to get to that level and think big enough. Don't you think? I mean, in all seriousness, it is. Scott and I were talking about it the other day, how the sleepless nights we had, but they were good sleepless nights.
Right.
Our minds were racing nonstop with
what are we doing to take it to the next level versus worrying about what am I going to do to get out of this hole.
Yes. Because all we had to, it was such a fun, non-sleeping time.
Yeah.
Your mind races nonstop, and we were able to come in there and fueling each other with it and all those things. And I feel sad for the people that get stuck around people that don't fuel their fire, and then they don't make a choice to get out of that situation.
Right. But it's a comfort zone.
It is, absolutely.
And so you got to be able to get out of your comfort zone. And I'm speaking to myself at the same time, because environments can change, and some can be good, some can be bad. But you got to be willing to get out of that comfort zone and out of that environment. Otherwise, there isn't going to be a change. You got to be willing to go into different environments to meet different people for that too. Right. You know what I mean? That's the key. And I'm not preaching it. I'm just saying that's in general, you do. And I looked at it the other day, and it's like, if I want to be at this level or that level, where am I at and who am I around and what am I trying to be around
to do that. It's all to myself as well.
Right.
I get in comfort zones. And I've gone through my up and downs. I go through this I get bored because I'm in the comfort zone, and then I got to figure out a way to get out of it.
So what do you do? What do you? I know you. There are things you do. Purposeful actions, because we're both big about purposeful actions.
Yep.
What do you do to get yourself out of that mood, out of that environment?
I immediately change my routine starting at the very beginning of the day. Whatever I'm doing at that time is that I've gotten out of getting up in the morning, meditating or reading a book in the morning, and all that. So I change my time to get up 15 minutes earlier, throw my time clock off. I constantly feed myself. I'm not in the car ever listening to anything besides a podcast or a book, an audiobook, that is me learning something and growing. I love educating myself. I love growing and learning. Like when I get my pilot's license, because I was bored.
Right.
And so that learning sparked me in all areas of my life.
So for somebody who's listening and saying, hey, I need to make the change, where do I start? Where do you recommend for somebody to get a start?
15 minutes earlier in your day. Set your alarm clock 15 minutes earlier.
And do what?
Read a book. Listen to a podcast. In your driving time, download motivational podcasts, educational podcasts, and instead of listening to the radio, listen to that. Start feeding your mind with things that are different than what you're feeding your mind with currently, and you'll slowly start seeking your way there. It obviously can go really far, but maybe we can get into a little bit of that on the third segment. Maybe we get into some of those purposeful actions, but it is key. You've got to change that deal and make some consequences. But I look at this and go, I'm proud of them. They kept going when the odds were stacked against them, when it looked like an industry that shouldn't be changed, it shouldn't be evolved. It's a doorbell.
Absolutely.
And they evolved it at all. Like now, everything, there's a lot of them now, and they all follow the ring. Yep. And that's one everybody knows.
There'll be a day here shortly where you're the odd man out if you don't have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you pretty much already are. You're not having a ring and, only LinkedIn. You're already an odd man out.
Yeah, it kind of scares me a little bit.
Maybe we'll come back on this third segment and teach Scott a little bit about social media. How about that?
How about that?
We'll be back in a minute for the third segment of Second Shot.
Yeah, Snapchat that real quick.
Now that's what I call ignorance on fire. More of Second Shot with Keith Oakes still to come.
Hear ye. Great news for all of you guys. Colonial Life is hiring some salespeople from all over the country. No matter where you are in the United States of America, if you're looking for a sales career, if you want to just learn more about what Colonial Life does, send an email to mbeltran@coloniallife.com, mbeltran@coloniallife.com. We'll get you set up with the right people you need to talk to and see if you're going to win that job. If you're in the Metroplex area, great. If you're in St. Louis, great. We're going to have office there for you. mbeltran@coloniallife.com and change your career today.
Kick off your boots or suit up. The choice is yours. Welcome back to Second Shot on RNCN.
Doesn't Zach's voice sound so like radio, like a spot? Welcome back to. His voice is a good radio voice. Isn't it?
It's good. And then to see the face. It's so no.
Well,
first time I met Zach, so I can't be too hard yet.
But then it comes into my voice that is so not refined and so not like perfect like Zach's. And here's what's funny is Zach's is a Midwestern. It's kind of Midwest because he has no accent, but he's from Houston. Ain't that crazy?
Well, it's Houston.
Yeah,
you guys are Scott. Yeah, chucklehead. Scott brought jokes. Did you hear? Yeah,
he did.
Scott brought jokes. Yeah,
he thinks he's funny.
Oh God. All right, how do I recover from that? Yeah, thank you. You guys are a couple of sweethearts. Born in Houston. Parents are from Michigan. I swear that had something to do with it.
I think so too. That probably does.
Yeah, I had Canadian and Puerto Rican roommate in college, so it drove a little bit of the Southern accent out of me. But
how do you think that did? I thought you were gonna act like you had like a Puerto Rican accent or something. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh no, it just drove it right out of me.
Yeah, you just don't sound redneck.
That Canadian, you start dropping the boots before you know it. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not good at any of that.
Muy bueno, eh?
Yeah, that's actually funny.
All right, so
on the third segment, we usually take some emails, but we're running short this week because you guys didn't send us a whole lot of them. So secondshotcast@gmail.com. Send us anything, headlines, questions, The world is your oyster. Send it to us, secondshotcast@gmail.com. But Zach had some stuff he wanted to kind of talk about on this segment.
I did, yeah. If we don't have any emails, we have nothing to talk about. Every once in a while, I get the opportunity to pose a question, and this is one I've been sitting on for a while. I'm like, Heath Oaks can help me with this.
This is very scary to me.
No,
it's got me nervous right now because he's been sitting on this.
Your face is getting a little bit red.
Yeah.
No. Here's what it is. When I was younger, when I was in high school, when I was in college, I felt like I had a long fuse. People would get frustrated about something temperamental, throw a tantrum, and I was always just cool hand Zach. Mm-hmm. Not a problem. And before I know it, suddenly I figured out, like, it's totally the opposite. And I when I'm at work, it's okay, but, like, when I'm at home and something frustrates me, if I can't figure something out on my phone, I'm like, I want to freak out. I want to throw it at a wall. Like, I can't stand it. And I'll throw this little temper tantrum and get angry. And it's totally not worth it. And I get to the end and I'm like, what am I doing? This doesn't even, like, why am I flipping out about this? But it still happens. I still do it. And I feel like the older I get, the worse it gets. And it's become this quality that I can't stand about myself. And I don't know why I've become this way. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's getting older or what. And so I was just going to ask if you guys have any experience in this about being patient and getting frustrated and how I can just figure something out here because I'm dying.
Well, are you? I mean, you're talking about just like
laughing over there.
Well, because he knows me. I'm
No, I mean, I used to be a yeller.
Yeah.
Okay, used to be. That's a good start. Yeah.
And patience is probably my biggest struggle.
Yeah.
I'm not a very patient person. I expect everything to be done now, fast, yesterday, and whatnot. So patience is a big struggle of mine. So with yours though, Zach, when you talk about it, is it stuff of just just like when you can't figure something out, you get frustrated with it, or is it a constant? Like, do you think it stops you from doing something?
No, it's minor stuff. It's never big picture. It's never like work or relationship stuff. It's always like, I can't, like, for some reason, an email won't send on my phone or something, and it's just like a snap. Like, it's just immediate anger, like just an eruption over little things. The big stuff is okay. That's fine, but like, it's usually when I'm at home, I'm alone, and like nobody can see me, and that's when it's the worst.
Well, then you're doing really good.
Yeah, no.
Like, I think that's awesome.
I'm gonna stand up and applaud.
Yeah, I mean, you're killing it, dude. Really? No, because here's the thing. Well, because here's the thing is, you're not gonna be able to fix everything there is. It's what you always got to do is always stuff that is, like we talked about a while ago, everything in moderation, right? So everybody's gonna have their patience issues here and there.
Yeah.
It is when it is something that it consumes on all aspects of your life that impedes you from moving forward, right? So if it impeded you in every aspect of your life, if you were a difficult person to work around because of that here, blah, 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 all those things, you got to work on those to get better. But in my opinion, I would say that is not something that is impeding you in any way. It's going to have to come out at some point. So it's a small percentage of what you do. Yeah. That's okay. You're great.
Right. It's restraint.
Yeah.
We're in industries, both of us, that we have to have restraint. We've got to be able to control what we say, our demeanor, how we're affected by what other people say. We've got to have restraint. But you can't always be restrained.
Well,
so the fact that you can hold it in until you're alone, it's something small. It's probably not even the fact that you're getting upset over one of these technology Snapchat deals that you got to figure out on your phone. It's releasing some things from earlier in the day.
Some people go to the gym and grunt really hard working out to release that. Everybody's got to release it somehow.
Yeah,
you're doing it in a very good route. And it's funny because that you talk about that. That's what a lot of us strive for. A lot of these people will get on these hardcore kicks, including myself, on this fixing this one thing going all the way. So, for instance, there was a book. There's a book called 10% Happier by he's a news guy. Good Morning American Weekend. Dan Harris, I think. I just got done reading the book. 10% Happier. What I love about it, number one, he's a phenomenal writer. He's so witty. It's really good. And he talks about how he went down this meditation route, and that meditation, you're supposed to be striving for enlightenment, right? The full enlightenment at the end. And what he did was he went from this guy that, like 26 was making it on national ABC, got a job at ABC National News like 26, 27, so he was really good. To then when he got on that kick hardcore, he kind of lost his drive at work and his stuff wasn't better, and he's like, oh my God, what's this moderation? So he went back to it, and what he realized at the end is because he kept chasing this enlightenment thing when he got on that kick, and realized, you know what? I like my meditating, 20, 30 minutes a day. And I'm 10% happier. And people say I'm better to be around.
And it's not bad. That's good.
But that's what he figured out. When he was going down that path, he was going this full-blown enlightenment thing, which made him more unhappy because his work was suffering because he was too laid back and not driven, right? And so that's what I go back to, Zach. I think about it, we do all the time, is there's not this, we don't have to go this swing right, swing left pendulum. Be 10% better. You know, like your thing, you're good. Like that's the spot I would want that release to happen.
I guess that's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
You know what
absolutely.
I mean?
Sure.
Like if it impeded your work and you were the person nobody want to be around, you know, maybe you got to move that. And that's what I think, you know, everything from people get on these diet fads to all these things. Look, move it 10%. If you know that you have a problem at breakfast time eating horrible, look, make it one positive effort to not like eat bad at breakfast. That's it.
Right.
And then, you know what? 9, 10, 12 months around the road, you'll probably end up changing 10% more of that.
And probably more likely to make that habitual.
Well, you will.
Because it's not a big change.
Not massive.
It's little changes.
Yeah, and that's what he found out in that book when he talked about 10% happier. Is he became less happier as he try to go full-blown with it and realized, you know what, I'm better. Why not stay here, right?
Right.
And that's the thing is you don't have to change everything about yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you think there's something there with it, you always look at them and go, I don't need this massive overhaul. Like a massive overhaul is not what...
So it's all right not being perfect.
Yes. But here's the thing is there's too many people these days. And look, this thing that every one of you got to do, including on myself, is be careful who you listen to. You don't need to just take somebody, just because on Instagram they're posting a picture in front of a Lamborghini that they probably rented from their buddy. They're in debt to their eyeballs. They don't make any money, but they're trying to act like they're a success guru. You go spend $300 and buy their course, and they ain't teach you nothing but crap because they've never really lived it.
Right.
There's way too many ways to find out the truth about people, including myself. If you're listening to this podcast, Google me, dig into me. You will do it. It's all out there. I'm an open book. Okay, I'm not going to tell you what I do. I'm not going to talk about things that I don't have experience in knowing. I'm just not going to do that.
Right.
I'm going to be way too real with you. You've got to do that. You cannot be taking advice and following these people that are preaching this one thing that really haven't done anything. You know, that they're, you know, they're worth $100 million and their parents gave them $50 million of it. And, you know, I mean, yeah, if my parents gave me $50 million, I'm going to be worth $100. I better be worth $100 million
exactly.
Very quickly as well. You know what I mean? So you got to be careful about who you're listening with, and all you got to do is Google them and look them up. Don't just blindly follow into that. And that's what this thing is if anybody tells you these drastic things you do, they're full of crap. The heat that like I always say, you know, when I made a comment and I told my wife, I said, yeah, if Brian ever comes home with that little heat, I'm going to kill him. She's like, you're like a good father. You're a good husband. Like, what are you talking about? I go, it depends. The 19-year-old Heath or the 27-year-old Heath? Them are two totally different people. The 19-year-old Heath, he better stay outside. 27-year-old Heath, I hope she marries him. I really do. But that was a journey. That was a long period process of me changing and evolving and maturing as a person. And it was one 10% step after 10% step after 10% step to happier that happens. Too many times today, everybody gets caught up in these diet fads and things. Those don't work because it's not sustainable. You got to slowly change a little bit as you go because overall, exercising more and eating a little bit better is how it is. But I'm not going to cut out my chicken fried steak every now and then. It ain't happening. I love chicken fried steak.
Well, you're only human.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to cut all that stuff out for it. But you know what I do? I make a lot of really poor choices on a regular basis that I don't care enough about, that I can make those slow changes to slowly become a better eater. And you know what happens is that actually sticks long term because it is not a fad, you know. So I tell you, Jack, you know, I would find something else if I was you to be working on personally, because I would say that is not something that is, you know, overrunning your life.
And if it is, 10%, which is good advice. Yeah, it's a small change. The book, by the way, is 10% Happier by Dan Harris. You were so close. I think you said Dan Harris.
Yeah, I did actually, I think. Yeah. It's a really good book. I like it, and it's the overall aspect. But it is. I think the 10% move is what people got to start to, because nothing happens overnight. Nothing is fast. If it's fast, it's not going to last. Yeah. And, you know, that's something you always got to remember. If it's fast, it won't last. Yeah. It's impossible for that to happen. Would you agree with that?
I would, and and you can't expect the results too quickly either.
Yep.
Well, yeah, that's
you can't make too big a change, but also realize you may see the results you're wanting. It may take a little bit longer than you hope for, but if it's the right path, keep on down it. and the results will come.
I'm impatient about being impatient.
Right.
Yeah, but yours is not a big it's only a very small part of your life there. So
it's true. Yeah,
that's not
you're
stopping
right.
you from achieving something you want. You need to work on find something that is stopping you from wanting what you're wanting. So here's another aspect to look at when you do want to make something better in your life of it all is one of the things we've done is this IDI, these testings, and you're all over this graph, and I'm always one of those, I want to know what's right and what's wrong. Right. And they're like, nothing's right or wrong. If you're low here or high here, none of it matters.
Yeah, but so-and-so is over here, and he's having success, and he's really high in this category. What do I got to do to be high in this category? But
the way that they explained to me, which is great, that I loved, is goes, look, here's the thing, is we had to write down what we wanted our legacy to be. And what they said was, only thing that matters about being low and high on these dots is if something is low where it should be high that doesn't match what your legacy is, needs to change. So what you want your legacy to be, okay, if it ain't got nothing to do with patience, all right, who cares if you're low, all right? But if your patience is you want people to know you cared about them, but your empathy is low,
right,
you better work on it. So match up what you want your thought to be, that your legacy to be, with what you need to work on personally. Does that make sense, Zach?
Yeah.
So if what you want people to remember you by, if you're not strong, if you have weaknesses in that, that's what you got to. That's what's most important, because it comes back. You have to work on you first. You can't work on anybody till you work on you, and you can't go out there and make these drastic changes and think you can do it all overnight. You're setting yourself up for failure. What do you want your legacy to be? If you were dying and somebody was reading something about you, does that match up with what your life is? That's where the issue comes into play. That's where the changes have to be made. So in mine, for instance, it was interesting because my consensual was really low. And what consensual means is that basically, because I wanted my legacy to be, I wanted somebody to say that, Heath invested in me when nobody else did. Heath made me believe I was better than I was. Heath helped me without wanting in return. He didn't, I want to be known as somebody that helped you without expecting something. I wanted to be a genuine.
But you wanted to take the first step and tell them versus listen.
Well, so when I was low in consensual, right? And consensual means you just answer the question for somebody or something, right? Like you, for instance, I know it's a smart thing to do to get everybody's input, but I already know the answer, so I'm gonna ask everybody, and then I'm just gonna lead them to my answer, right? So I really didn't care about their opinion, but I was going to do it because I knew it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
That's what I did. And I didn't realize that. So in this thing, when that was it, the reason why I decided to work on consensual first and foremost, because if you're low in consensual, it doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. But that did not line up with my legacy.
Right.
That lines up with a selfish person that doesn't care about
I remember when we were going through that training.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was the most awesome thing in the world. And I think that's what we do a lot of today. You worry about what somebody in the world says this has to be or that has to be versus what you want. You need to write down your legacy. What do you want people to say about you? Take a look at your life with a microscope and go, what doesn't line up? You can't look at anybody else's because nobody else has the exact same legacy you want. And so whatever doesn't line up, work on it. And look, be 10% better.
Yep, just little increments.
10% better. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Don't listen to these people that say you got to go change and overhaul everything. If you change that 10% thing and you become better and you're seeing those strides marching, next thing you know, you're 60% better and didn't even realize it. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it change ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've grown. To go back and look, I mean, it's about 10 years ago, right about this time when we got together, and to see the little changes we each made.
Yep.
And also see little changes we didn't make.
Yep.
I mean, personally, to go back and look at, I knew I should have worked on it and see some of the benefits of what I did and also some of the things I was resistant to think about where I can go. But I can't go back and say, hey, I can't change the past, but I can change the future.
You cannot let those things halt you on your decisions now moving forward with it. I just don't want us to be caught up in this everything overnight thing. Nothing is overnight. There's a lot of people put a lot of things in, and I think the 10% happier concept is a great way to look at things and think that move the needle 10%, Eat a little bit better for breakfast. To heck with everything else. Get that habit down. Let it start fueling over.
Why do you keep looking at my belly when you're talking about that?
What? Well, I'm actually talking about it. What's funny is
we're going to go do dinner. Now I got to eat 10% less.
I'm actually talking about it for myself because the worst decisions I make are for breakfast, hands down. And I know if I don't start changing that one it's if I change that one, I think it'll change my decisions throughout the day. But my breakfast decisions are bad. I wake up starving almost, and I'm like eat really bad.
It's the most important meal of the day.
But I know you know what, guys? I got kind of off on a tangent there, I believe.
Well, I appreciate the advice, really, both of you. Thank you. So thank you a lot. Yeah, you give me a lot to think about.
Yeah, I hope I answered your question. I just took off on a rant.
No, yeah.
Kind of felt like an SNL skit.
Yeah, that was like one of
Deep
those.
Thoughts with Jack Handy.
Yeah. No, that's what we called it. Deep Thoughts with Heath Oaks. That'd be great. Yeah. But it is, guys. You're perfect how you are. You only need to change what you feel like you need to change. Don't let anybody tell you any different. And sometimes you have to believe in somebody else's belief in you before you can believe in your own self. And you got to just make the 10% changes. See what doesn't line up. Change what needs to line up with you personally. To hell with what everybody else says. To hell with all of them that don't want things or that want to try to discourage it. Do you, be you. You're perfect. You're great. It doesn't matter what anybody else says, and that's the absolute truth.
Yeah, and that's powerful. You keep looking at me, waiting for me to jump in, and I'm like, no, you're preaching to me, buddy. And you're preaching to me, and it's words that are, powerful, and being able to take the time to just listen.
Yeah,
and that's another thing folks need to be able to do is just sit back and listen when somebody is talking to you. Be smart enough to keep your mouth shut, listen, allow it to soak in, because that's powerful stuff.
Knowledge speaks and wisdom listens. I love that little saying.
It's the first time you've ever said I had wisdom.
I mean, he didn't say directly you had wisdom. He was just saying.
That's what I heard.
Good job, Zach. Good job, Zach. Zach got him back.
Yes.
Where can we find you at, Scott? LinkedIn. Wow, that's a lot of stuff there. You can find me at Heath Oaks at Ignorance on Fire. Zach, you can find you on Twitter. Where at?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. At Apple Zackintosh.
He's actually really funny. You got to go follow him.
Very clever. No, I'm not.
I love you all. Y'all keep rocking it. Peace.
You got deep.
You're listening to RNCN, the digital destination for premium talk radio.